Alright folks, we got the fender off. I washed the car down, got the dirt out, and the reason I took the fender off was it had been bumped, cracked it. The flexibility of these fenders only goes so far, and at the age of this car I think it may have lost some of its flexibility. So I'll show you what I'm doing with the fender. But what I wanted to point out here is this car has a sunroof. And so I wanted to point out a specific thing I had to deal with on the sunroof. Step on over here with me. Don't get too close though. Sunroof is here, and each corner of the sunroof, this corner, that corner, that corner, and this corner, have rubber hoses, basically like a fuel line or something like that, that tie to a pan that wraps around the sunroof. So if this gasket here leaks, it goes into a pan and then it has these 4 locations the water can run out. Well, I had one, it was on the other side of the car, but I had one tube that was completely missing. It wasn't there. So I went to O'Reilly's Auto Parts and got a 4-foot tube to match the right size here. And then what you have to do, because I got the headliner out when I was working on the sunroof, you have to feed it down the body, which goes down this body panel here. And you're actually able to grab it in the trunk, and it feeds into this little tube device. Go back, don't get so close. You can see what it is. This tube device which allows the sunroof to drain. Come over here with the camera. So here's what I had to do. I had to actually reach through this hole on the other side here in order to access that tube, and then I'd be able to feed it to right there. So it's a little difficult, and my suggestion would be get 4.5 feet of hose, because I got 4 feet, and I had about 4 to 5 inches to play with, so it was a little risky in that the tube, if it goes a different direction, I just think 4.5 feet would be enough. Who cares if you have to cut off, 6 to 8 inches. But I WD-40'd about that much of the end of the hose, about 8 inches, and then when I fed it down from the inside of the car down the pillar, it actually fed through, and then it actually bypassed that hole, went into like another compartment. When I felt in there and found it, I just had my daughter back up the hose until I felt the end, and then I pulled it on through and plugged it into that little device there. Here's the other one. It goes right in here. If you see that hose just above my finger there, that rubber hose right there. And it comes out inside the fender, but it's on this side of the car, on the inside of the car. And the wheel well, the rubber wheel well, the plastic wheel well fits here. So what it actually does, it drips on the outside of the wheel well, not on directly on the tire, and just goes outside the car that way. Come look at the fender. I'll show you what I'm doing. This is the fender. The major crack was over here. I think we have video on it on one of the previous videos. So what I did was I went to a place called Space Age Paint on Country Club Drive in Mesa, several miles from here. And they have what's an epoxy type bonding agent that's designed for this kind of stuff. The problem is, it's not a problem, it's a good quality product, but it's $55 for that product. Well, I called the junkyard out on the west side. They want $42 for a fender. So if you're dealing with a car that you've already had custom painted, or the paint is still in high quality and you don't want to have to deal with that issue, it's worth the $55. But in my case, I'm looking at repainting the car. It was easier for me to try the Bondo, stick it on here, see if it works. The key will be when I go to put the fender back on the car, is it going to crack is it going to crack when I put it back on? Because they say the Bondo will be hard, and it may end up not letting the fender flex enough, so we'll find out.